Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be building up the X-34 Landspeeder from the Star Wars Legion board game. This is the same make and model which is used by Luke Skywalker in the very first Star Wars movie. Except this one being modified for combat and comes with 3 rebels. Let's open the box and check it out. Now I must confess I haven't actually played this game, but I am a big Star Wars fan. I'm more interested in the miniatures and the display side of things. And that's what I'm going to do in this video, create more of a display rather than a game piece. So we've got quite a few things in this box, so let's go through them. We have a double-sided instruction sheet which shows us how to assemble all 3 miniatures plus the vehicle, and for those playing the game it comes with the relevant tokens and cards. Each figure comes unassembled and in its own little baggie. Each component has its own little uniquely shaped peg, which means it can only be fit in a certain hole at a certain position. So using a little bit of model cement, I get the first one built up. It's a pretty cool miniature with a good pose and a very good sculpt. Off camera I'm going to build up the rest of her crew. Right at the end you can see I've got a choice of 2 blasters to mount on the vehicle. And these are the components which needs adding to the speeder. Although we can pick and choose what to add depending on how distressed we want it. For example, I'm only putting on one of these engine covers, leaving the other one with its wires exposed. With the exception of a couple of missing components, this is how the speed is looking so far. Now let's get everything primed. Grey spray primer is usually the best option, and while I'm at it I spray the speeder a deep red colour. This will take a little while to dry, so I'll concentrate my efforts on the figures for now, starting by painting all 3 flesh tones, which are pink, green and blue, and I followed that up by giving them a darker wash, which helped to give the skin tone further definition. I then put them to one side so I can concentrate my efforts on the speeder, starting off by painting the grills on the side, followed by the large mounted blaster. Then I can put them to one side to dry and concentrate on the main body. There's a few open panels where you can see the wiring inside, so those are all painted silver as a base coat. And then I went through and painted all the individual wires red, blue, greens, yellows and so forth. And this is a crucial step to help make the speeder look more believable. Next I glued on the metal groove for either side of the speeder. And you can see how neat and tidy this looks having painted it separately. Black panel liner does a great job in highlighting the components in these open panels, plus it also hides some of the overpainted areas. And also naturally, panel liner is also good for highlighting panels. Then I use a cotton bud to soak up all the overspills. And before going further I need to concentrate my efforts on the base. And I'm going to use a couple of these crates from this expansion set to help do that. So once I've built them up, I work out where they're going to be positioned. Plus I'm also contemplating taking one of the passengers and putting them on one of these crates. And this way it will help tell more of a story. Now I need to get these painted up, then I can move on to the next step. And that means covering the base with PVC glue. I find that a cotton bud does a good job of spreading it out. And then I set about placing my scenery pieces. I have 2 crates, a heavy blaster and an engine cowl. And these have to go along the edges so they don't collide with the speeder when it's placed in the middle. It's just a matter of finding the best position for them to make them look like a natural setting. I placed the cowl at the opposite side so it can be half buried under sand. And this way none of the extra pieces are actually wasted. Then it's just a matter of placing on some random large rocks before filling up every remaining space with sand. And once all this is done I cover it in a layer of fixer. Altogether this will take a couple of days to dry, which is why it has to be done now before everything else. So I can now concentrate my efforts on finishing off the speeder, like painting the padded seats and the other little bits of detail. And while I'm at it I dirty up the windshield. And with a tissue I dab off the excess paint, leaving it mostly clear in the middle. Using an old tatty brush and some silver paint, I dab on some random paint chippings. These are predominantly at the front part of the speeder, as this is where most of the sand and rock will chip away at the paint. plus I also had a little bit of wear around the engines. Using sand coloured paint I brushed on some scuff marks, and these need to be brushed on in the same direction as the speeder travels, which is from front to back, and this also helped me to define some of the edges. And now I can start gluing on the remaining accessories, starting off with this front mounted heavy blaster. I just have to make sure I'm careful to align the hose with this open panel, and then it's just a matter of finishing off painting the three occupants of the vehicle. I kept their colour scheme mostly earthy colours, as I didn't want them to stand out too much, as they are ultimately rebels trying to blend in with the wider population. And as with all my projects, the base gets a black trim, although this had the option to be painted in different colours to help correspond with the field of vision for gameplay. Using some yellow ochre weathering powder, I blend in the base with the items on it, and to help ensure that none of it rubs off, I gave it and the figures a spray with a matte sealer. Now the driver can be put into place in the speeder. He's already holding the steering wheel, and that needs aligning up with the peg, and with him in place I can finally attach the windshield. As I want to permanently attach the speeder, I glue it down to the base, and this doesn't stick very easily to sand. And now I can position the other two characters where I choose, and one of them is going to give supporting fire from this crate on the side. And there we have it, the X-34 Landspeeder model. And this is intended to be used for the Star Wars Legion game, although it doesn't do any harm in customising it a little bit, like I have. And the good thing about customisation is that none of the extra parts get wasted, such as the engine cowl and the extra blaster, and it all goes towards helping to set the scene even further. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if I can do it, so can you.